Welcome to Study with Sudhir. We are now on the concluding scene. I hope you have seen the introduction to Act 5 Scene 1, that short video that I had put out. The part 1 explanation, the more difficult explanation of the literary references by Jessica and Lorenzo in the earlier part of Act 5 Scene 1. Now we get to the concluding part of this scene with the return of Portia with Nerissa, and thereafter the return of all the male characters as well. So there is a sense of reconciliation, etc., that will take place with all is well that ends well kind of an ending as far as MOV is concerned. जो 9th class से आप पढ़ रहे हैं, that will finally come to an end now. Okay, Portia says, that light we see is burning in my hall. How far that little candle throws its beams, and so shines a good deed in a naughty world. Now, that's a very significant kind of line, because Portia all said and done is returning back home after having done something good, a good deed in a naughty world, right? We are talking about all that transpired in Venice, right? So candle can also be interpreted that a little candle, a little sense of light, a little goodness can actually end up doing larger good in an otherwise evil kind of a world, right? Nerissa says, when the moon shone, we did not see the candle, right? When the moon shone, we did not see the candle. Portia says, so doth the greater glory dim the less. A substitute shines brightly as a king, unto the king be by, and then his state empties itself as doth an inland brook into the main of waters. Music, stop. Okay, so Portia says brighter light always dims the lesser, smaller lights, because the moon is obviously a more stronger light. At that time, they did not see the candle, but that's what she's referring to. So a person who is working as a substitute shines brightly as a king. A person's working as a substitute, for example, a deputy to someone, shines brightly as a king, but when the king is present, be by means when the king is present, his glory vanishes. His glory vanishes. Then the state empties itself means his glory vanishes. Just like a stream, brook, just like a stream flowing from the interior into the sea. So long as it is on the land, the stream has its own significance. The river has its own significance. But the moment it goes into the sea, it becomes part of the sea. No one talks about the river or the stream after that, right? So Portia listens to the music which Nerissa is saying is coming from inside your home. Nothing is good, I see, without respect. Methinks it sounds much sweeter than by day. So Portia says nothing is good unless it is affected by the environment. I think the music sounds much better at night than it does during the day. What I told you in part 1, the reference to the music coming again, this time from Portia. So then Nerissa says the silence of the night, silence bestows that virtue on it, ma'am. That, it sounds better now because it's all very silent right now. Okay, so they are coming before sunrise, when it is still dark. It is not yet, the sun has not yet risen, so it's still pretty much dark. The crow doth sing as sweetly as the lark when neither is attended, and I think the nightingale, if she should sing by day when every goose is cackling, would be thought no better a musician than the wren. Okay, so now Portia says that the crow sings as sweetly as the lark. Lark is also a bird. When no one is listening, attended to means when no one is listening. If the nightingale sang during the day, when every other common bird, goose, when every other common bird was also making a very harsh noise, everyone would think that it did not sing any better than a wren. Wren is a small bird, again, which did not have a pleasant sound. So they would not be able to recognize the beauty of the nightingale's voice if all the other birds are also creating a racket at the same time. So how many things seem good to us? How many things by seasoned are to their right praise and true perfection? So how many things seem good to us, seem perfect and are fully praised, right praise and true perfection, simply because they are perceived, observed, seasoned, observed at the appropriate time. By season means at the appropriate time. Okay, so just see how the word season has been used by Shakespeare out here. Okay, so what Portia is essentially making the point is that we appreciate things better when we pay attention to them at leisure. Okay, not when everyone else is also doing pretty much a lot of things. Okay, so the place, the time, the circumstances, the environment are important to enjoy a good thing. So music, however perfect, in the daytime sounds sweeter at night because of the quiet environment. Okay, now the music stops. Okay, Lorenzo says that's the voice and I'm much deceived of Portia. So in the last line, she refers to quiet now, that is peace ho. Look how the moon sleeps with Endymion, its lover, and will not wake up. Okay, Endymion, which I referred to in part 1, was the handsome youth who was loved by Diana, the goddess of the moon. And the line "the moon sleeps with Endymion" conveys the visual impression of the moon kissing him with its calm, silvery kind of moonshine light. Okay, Lorenzo, that's Portia's voice, if I'm not mistaken. If I am not deceived, I am much deceived means, if I'm not mistaken, that voice I hear is that of Portia. Portia, oh, he recognizes me like a blind man recognizes the cuckoo by the bad voice. So she's referring to her own voice. I mean, she's making a comparison to how a blind man would recognize the cuckoo just by the voice. Okay, so we don't know whether she considers herself not to be having a great voice. Okay, dear lady, welcome home. Portia, we have been praying for our husband's health. So continuing that charade, that lie, that bluff, with speed we hope the better for our words are they returned. So she asks, we have been praying for our husband's welfare and we hope they have benefited. Speed, they have benefited and are better off because of our prayers. Have they returned? Lorenzo informs her that a messenger has informed that they are on their way back. Portia wants to continue to keep them in the dark. Okay, Portia tells Nerissa to go in and give order to my servants that they take no note at all of our being absent here. So no one to tell Bassanio, etc., that we were absent at the same time that they were in Venice. Okay, you also, Lorenzo, Jessica also should not reveal anything. Okay, and then there is a sound. Lorenzo says, your husband is at hand. I hear his trumpet. We are no telltales, ma'am. Fear you not, that we will not be revealing anything. We are not informers of secrets. You need not worry, which is a little bit of an irony, which is a little bit of a strange, because in Act 3 in front of Portia, Jessica had revealed secrets about Shylock, remember? And what he intended to do about Antonio. Act 3. Scene 1. Portia says, this night methinks is but a daylight sick. It looks a little paler. It's a day such as the day is when the sun is hid. So Portia says, I think this night is just the dim daylight. It only looks a little pale in comparison. It looks like a day when the sun is hidden. Maybe Portia wants to indicate that it is a clear night or a dim kind of daylight instead of the complete darkness which one can expect at daybreak during the night time. Bassanio, if you walked outside at night, Bassanio says we should walk whole day with the antipodes if you would walk in absence of the sun. If you would walk in absence of the sun. Now, Bassanio says if you walked outside at night when it's dark, it would be daylight there at the same time as it will be day on the other side of the world. Now, what is this reference to? One, of course, Bassanio is giving a compliment to Portia. He's obviously trying to, flatter her. The antipodes is the point on the Earth's surface exactly opposite. For example, Italy's antipode would be New Zealand. Okay. England's antipode is Australia. Okay, which means that when it is bright sunshine in, say, Belmont City, it will be dark in, say, Christchurch or in Auckland in New Zealand. Okay, and vice versa. Bassanio says that if Portia walked in the night, she will illuminate the area with her radiance and brightness as the sun does on the other end of the world. That is the antipode. That is, in this case, it would be in New Zealand. So here Bassanio is comparing Portia to the sun itself as if to say that she can replace the sun. So he's obviously trying to give her a compliment, flatter her. Portia, she puns on the night word light, pretty much similar to what happened in Act 3, Scene 2, before the Bassanio casket scene. I mean, before he chose the casket, right? So she puns on the word. So Portia is given to this kind of a banter. light-hearted banter. She puns on the word light, which means bright and immortal. She says, let me give light, but let me not be light. Okay, which means let me not be unfaithful, let me not be unchaste. Okay, so an unfaithful wife makes a husband sorrowful. Okay, for a light wife doth make a heavy husband, heavy as in sorrowful, and never be Bassanio so for me. So I will never let Bassanio be sad because of my conduct, but God decides everything. Welcome. Okay, so she's welcoming Bassanio back to Belmont. I thank you, ma'am. Give welcome. And now he introduces Antonio. This is the man, this is Antonio, to whom I am so infinitely bound. So infinitely bound means I'm indebted to him, and so I have very close ties with him. So obviously he doesn't recognize that they have already met in the trial scene. Stupid fellow. You should in all sense be much bound to him, for as I hear, he was much bound for you. So you indeed need to be indebted to him, because I hear, since he was bound, again punning on the word bound this time, for you, in the sense that he became a prisoner of Shylock. You know, he had to go to court, and he could have almost been killed by Shylock in the court. Okay. Also, in Act 3, Scene 3, we have seen that Antonio did go to jail. Remember Act 3, Scene 3. So in that sense, he did get into trouble for your sake. Antonio, no more sins. I'm completely freed from it. It also means that he has been repaid by Bassanio's love, that is Antonio, and Portia's expression of gratitude. Portia, sir, you are very welcome to our house. It must appear in other ways than words. Therefore, I scan this breathing courtesy. So now Portia is saying that you are welcome to our house. The welcome should be in action, not in words. Therefore, I'll cut short this polite and gentle conversation that we are having. Scant this breathing courtesy is what it means. Graciano saying to Larissa, by yonder moon, I swear you do me wrong. In faith, I gave it to the judge's clerk. So now that ring episode is now being assimilated, amalgamated into this particular scene, amalgamated with this particular scene. In faith, I gave it to the judge's clerk. Would he were guilt that had it for my part. Okay, in some editions, it is written as dead, not guilt. Okay, would he were dead. This is from the British editions, which are a little, some of the words are a little different. There are some extra lines also, which I have cut out from this particular PDF, because the Britishers had some more lines, which are not in the Indian editions that you and I follow. Dead that had it for my part, since you do take it, love so much at heart. So what is Graciano and Nerissa arguing about? I swear by the moon above us yonder. Okay, I swear by the moon above us that you are doing me wrong. Yonder means above. You are misjudging me. Okay, I'm telling you the truth. I gave it to the judge's clerk. I wish the guy I gave to was dead, as far as I am concerned, since you are getting so upset about it and taking it to heart. Now it seems like earlier in trial scene, he wishes his wife was dead. So he seems to be kind of pretty okay with killing people like that. Portia wonders if the couple is already quarreling, and she asks what's the matter. About a hoop of gold, a paltry ring, stupid fellow, that she did give me, whose posy was for all the world like Cutler's poetry, upon a knife, love me and leave me not. Such a third-rate fellow to have for a husband, let me say that. Portia says we are arguing about a ring of gold, hoop, ring of gold, a ring of nominal value, paltry, cheap in terms of value, that she gave me. It had the words inscribed on it. Posy means inscribed on it, like the verses engraved by a knife maker, a cutler. His attempt at poetry, he's trying to attempt poetry, an attempt to denigrate what was there engraved on the ring. And it said, love me and do not leave me. Okay, and which he thinks that it was not very significant. So what does it show? So if you ever get some question related to Graciano, please do point this out. And it shows that he was a rude and an uncouth kind of a person and a husband. So please make a note of it. Nerissa, what talk you of the posy or of the value? You swore to me when I did give to you that you would wear it till your hour of death. Understood? Why talk of words which are inscribed on the ring? Because the quality of the ring or the quality of the verse, you promised me that when I gave you the ring, that you would wear it till your hour of death, till you are dead, and that it would be buried alongside you. if not for my sake, at least for the sake of the many promises that you made, you should have been considerate towards your promises. Okay, if not towards me, at least towards your promises, you should have been more considerate. You claim that you gave it to the clerk of a judge. Okay, no, I swear on God, and God is my judge, that the clerk will never grow a beard on his face, which means to say that I am pretty sure that the person you gave to was not a man but a woman. So this is another way of saying that the person who you gave the clerk to will never grow a beard on his face. He will, and he will grow a beard if he lives long enough, if he grows up, because that judge's clerk was a pretty young chap. So was the judge, that is Portia. So he says if he lives long enough, he will definitely grow a beard. Yes, if a woman becomes a man. So she is taunting him and trying to test him. Graciano, now by this hand I gave it to a youth, a kind of boy, a little scrub boy, no higher than thyself. So he's saying his height was almost that of you. I swear I give it to a youth, a kind of boy, a little undersized boy, no taller than yourself. That is Nerissa. He was the clerk of the judge, a talkative boy who wanted it as his fee, and I did not have the heart to refuse him. You were to blame, Portia now says. You are to blame. I must be honest with you. You were wrong to give away your wife's first gift. Okay. It was a thing that was stuck on your finger with promises and fastened and bound with the trust on your body. Okay. So that is what is so riveted with faith onto your flesh. Riveted means it was kind of bound to your flesh body with commitment, with a promise. Okay, so she says, I gave my love, that is Bassanio, a ring, and made him a promise never to part with it, lose it, or give it away. And here Bassanio stands. Here he stands. Okay, here he stands. I can express confidence on his behalf, that is Bassanio's behalf, dare be sown for him, that he would never part with the ring nor remove it from his finger for all the money in the world. Okay, he would not leave it nor pluck it from his finger for the wealth that the world masters. That is, for all the wealth in the world, Bassanio would never give away that ring which I have given it to him. To tell the truth, Graciano, you give your wife good reason to be unhappy, unkind a cause of grief, to be unhappy with you. If it had happened with me, I would be very upset. So she is now setting the stage for Bassanio to confess. Bassanio aside, that is speaking on the side that so that Portia and no one else can listen, and only the audience can listen. Why? I were best to cut my left hand off and swear I lost the ring defending it. So Bassanio to himself says, the best I can do is to cut my left hand and claim that I lost the ring defending, trying to safeguard it. Okay, Graciano, wo khud musibat mein hai, to he decides to reveal what Bassanio did as well. So he says, Bassanio, my lord Bassanio gave his ring away unto the judge that begged it, and indeed deserved it too. So the judge deserved it too and also requested for the ring. Then the clerk, who took a lot of pains in writing, begged for my ring. Neither of them would settle for anything else. Ought means AUGHT means would take anything else except but the two rings. Portia, what ring gave you, my lord? Not that I hope which you received from me, that I hope you did not give away the ring that I gave you, that you received from me. Bassanio, if I could add a lie unto a fault, I would deny it, but you see my finger hath not the ring upon it, it's gone. If I could make it better by lying, I would deny it, but you see my finger does not have the ring on it, it is gone. Portia, even so void is your false heart of truth. By heaven, I will never come in your bed until I see the ring. So she says your false heart is also empty. Okay, meaning to say that there is no truth in your heart, just like there is no ring in your finger. I swear I will never be your wife till I see the ring. And Nerissa also repeats the same line. In the British editions, there are some extra lines out here which are not there in the Indian editions. Okay, Bassanio says, my sweet Portia, if you did know to whom I gave the ring, if you did know, this is a passage which has come in the past as a reference to context question. So please do prepare it well. He says that, my sweet Portia, if you knew who I gave the ring to, for whose sake I gave the ring to, that is Antonio, for what I gave the ring, that is, the person saved the life of Antonio, and how unwilling I was to give the ring, which is also a fact, and the fact that he would not accept anything except the ring, which is also a fact. So he's speaking the truth. You would reduce, abate means you would reduce the strength of your anger. You would reduce the fury of your anger and not be so displeased. Okay, the strength of your displeasure. So Portia says, if you, so she also replies to him in the same words, and you realize that Portia has a way with words. So she says, if you had known the virtue of the ring, if you had known the worth of the ring, or half the worth of the woman who gave you the ring, okay, or half her worthiness of the person who, that is Portia herself, who gave you the ring, or your duty as an honorable man to preserve the ring, you would not have parted with the ring. So she's kind of trying to counter each one of the points that he has made. Which man, she says, would be so unreasonable to insist on taking the ring? That is the judge, that is Portia in the form of Balthazar in the court, would be so unreasonable to insist to take the ring if you had cared, means pleased means cared, to defend your point of view, saying that my wife gave it, I cannot give it, with determination. Obviously you were not determined. So that's why she's questioning his basic character out here. Which man would lack good manners to insist on a ring that is associated with the ceremony? So she's saying, what kind of a judge was he that he would insist on this particular ring, which is actually associated with the ceremony, and it is associated with a relationship of husband and wife. Nerissa says it right, and I believe it. So I bet that you gave the ring to a woman and not to a male. Bassanio, no, by my honor, ma'am, by my soul, no woman had it but a civil doctor. So Bassanio says, I swear, ma'am, and now please note that he does not say Portia anymore. He's obviously a little scared now. He says, no woman took it from me. It was a doctor of civil law, okay, a civil doctor, that is a lawyer, who refused 3,000 ducats from me, and instead asked for the ring, which I denied him. I allowed him to go away displeased, even though he had saved the life of my good friend, that is Antonio. What could I say? I was compelled to send it to him. He's referring to Antonio, obviously, without naming him. Okay. I was enforced to send it after him. I was beset with shame and courtesy. So he says that I was ashamed and wanted to show good manners. Courtesy means good manners. I could not dishonor myself by acting ungrateful and stain my honor. Please forgive me, and I swear by the stars above that if you had been there, you would have also begged me to give the ring to that worthy doctor of civil law. Okay. Portia says, let not that doctor ever come near my house, since he hath got the jewel that I loved. So he says, do not ever let that doctor of civil law, that judge, ever come near my house, since he has got the jewel, that is the ring that I loved, that you swore to keep forever for me. I will be as generous as you, liberal as in generous, and I will not deny him anything that I have. And this is a slightly sexual kind of a connotation that, I could do anything with that lawyer because you did not kind of keep up with the promise that I made. So these lines are seen to be a little more bold and therefore removed from the Indian editions. Okay. Nerissa says there are more lines of Portia. There's a line of Gratiano, which has all been edited. Nerissa says, nor will I refuse anything to the clerk. So take care to look after my take good care to look after my honor. Okay. That is, how do you leave me to mine own protection? I'll take care of that. Okay. So Antonio says, I'm the reason for these quarrels. I'm the reason. Sir, grieve not you are welcome notwithstanding. So she said, don't be upset, you are welcome despite all this which is happening around us here in Belmont. So Bassanio says, Portia, forgive me this enforced wrong. In the hearing of these many friends, I swear to thee, even by thine own fair eyes, wherein I see myself. So Bassanio says, forgive me this wrong which I was compelled to do. Enforced wrong means I was compelled to do by that particular lawyer, and he doesn't say by Antonio, who asked him to go and give it. In the presence of all these friends, I swear to you, even by your beautiful eyes, wherein I see my own reflection. Portia says, mark you but that in both my eyes he doubly sees himself. So Portia says, hear what he says. Iski baat suno. He sees his image in each one of his eyes, that is, doubly sees himself. 2 reflection. You are swearing by your two-faced double self. Again, punning, you have two-faced, you on one hand you swear your love to me, but on the other hand you have given it to a man, to another woman. Okay, or at least that's what she alleges. Is that an oath worthy of being believed? You double-faced man, is that an oath worthy of being believed, oath of credit? Bassanio says, nay, but hear me, pardon this fault, and by my soul I swear I never more will break an oath with thee. So he's now getting a little scared and desperate. So he says, no, just listen to me, forgive this mistake. I'll swear I will never break an oath with you again. Okay. Antonio, I once did lend my body for his wealth, which but for him that had your husband's ring. So Antonio says, I once pledged my body, that is referring to Shylock's that oath, for his well-being. Wealth means for his well-being, meaning that he was a surety for Bassanio, for the well-being of Bassanio. If it had not been for the person who now owns your husband's ring, that is Portia in the guise of the judge, my body would have been lost, means I would have been killed. I dare to pledge myself once again, okay, bound again, at the risk of forfeiting my soul as penalty, that your husband will never break a promise again knowingly. So knowingly, he will never do it again. So he's making a promise on behalf of Bassanio, knowing that, he did have a role to play in ensuring that the ring was given to Portia in the guise of the judge. Okay, Portia says, gives Antonio a ring, then you will be the security guarantee, give him this. So she gives the ring back to him. So he says, give him this and bid him keep it better than the other, that he should take care of this particular ring. And Antonio gives the ring, and Bassanio says it's the same that he had given it to the judge, the doctor of law. Portia, I had it of him, pardon me, Bassanio, for by the ring the doctor lay with me. So he says that I got it from me, Bassanio, forgive me. Now let me just see if this line is in the Indian edition. 1 second. Yeah, see, I had of him, pardon me, Bassanio. Okay, for by this ring the doctor lay with me will not be there in your Indian edition. I did not remove this one. Okay, with basically another line in this British editions which admits that Portia admitted to having slept with the legal expert in exchange for the ring. Okay, it's not there in your Selina Publications edition. Okay, Nerissa says, and pardon me, my gentle Graciano, for that same scrub boy, the doctor's clerk, in lieu of this last night did lie with me. Okay, did give me this is what is there in your Indian edition. This is the British edition. This is, I've taken it from a British website. Okay, so she says the same thing, that the doctor's clerk gave to me. So the next line of Graciano is not there in the Indian edition, so we will not go through that. Portia, you are all amazed. Here is a letter. Now she reveals a letter. This is another passage which comes quite often in the examinations as a reference to context. Read it at your leisure. It comes from Padua, from Bellario. There you shall find that Portia was the doctor. Now she's revealing everything. Now she says, you all look confused. Okay, here is a letter, talking of 2 letters. Read it at your leisure. It is from Padua, from Bellario, okay, to who she had sent Balthasar. You will find out that Portia was the doctor of law and Nerissa was a clerk. Lorenzo here will testify, give proof that I left the house as soon as you did and returned just before you did. I have not yet entered the house. Antonio, you are welcome. Now she addresses Antonio. I have better news for you than you expect. Open this letter, a second letter. You will find that 3 of your argosies, that is your ships, have arrived at the harbor loaded with a lot of riches. Okay, richly come to harbor suddenly. You will never guess how I incidentally happened to get this letter. So it doesn't reveal it. So Bassanio is surprised and shocked, and Bassanio asks Portia if she indeed was the lawyer in the court. Okay, Antonio says, and Graciano also asks the same thing. Portia says, Lorenzo, my clerk has, Antonio says, sweet lady, you have given me life and also a living. I read confirmed information in this letter, the second letter that she gives him, that my ships have safely come to the harbor. Okay. Portia, how now, Lorenzo? My clerk has some good news for you. I will give it to him without charging a fee, says Nerissa. and gives a document to Lorenzo. So 2 letters and a legal document to Lorenzo is what is handed over by Portia and Nerissa. This is from Shylock to you, for you and Jessica. It's a special legal document, deed of gift, a special legal document. And after he dies, that is Shylock dies, you will inherit all his property that he possesses. Fair ladies, you drop manna in the way of starved heaven. Manna from heaven. Have you heard this phrase? Basically it's saying that, you drop food, which is like, offerings from heaven. It's pleasant news to starved people. And since he's a spendthrift and not a very well-to-do guy, for him, it's like, Chandi hogi uski to. Okay, it's a reference from the Bible where Jews were wandering in the desert, and when they were starving, God sent them divine food called manna. Okay, that's how this manna from heaven phrase comes. Portia says, it's almost morning, but I'm sure you're not fully satisfied about these events. Let's go inside and put all your queries. Charge us means you can question us and we will answer all your questions truthfully. Okay, we will answer all your questions faithfully, truthfully upon interrogatories. Okay, it means a series of questions. Interrogatories means a series of questions. Charge upon the interrogatories is a legal phrase that was used at that point in time. And at the end of the play, Shakespeare obviously wants us to remember that the legal court scene, trial scene, Act 4, Scene 1 was at the heart of the play. And obviously, he also wants to show off his understanding of the law, which is why he's using this kind of a legal terminology, interrogatory. Okay, so Graciano has the last word. He says, let it be so then, as long as I live, I will not worry about anything as painful as keeping Nerissa's ring. Okay, so as sore, even then at the end also, he's not a very, he doesn't have a great way with words and seems to use all the wrong words and is not a very polished kind of a person. So harmony is restored at the end of the play. Everyone is happy and things are in order for all the main characters in the play, except of course Shylock. Okay, I hope you have understood it. Thank you very much for watching. Do well as far as the play is concerned. Thank you very much.